Welcome, everyone. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here joined with Mark Deere, our EVP of Dedicated Operations, and also Jim Fitzsimmons, who's our Chief Operating Officer here at Swift. And we want to hit on several topics today and then answer as many questions as possible. I think we already have a few queued up that have already been submitted. Today, we plan to talk about the market, maybe some color on some dedicated operations and some opportunities. Talk about some of the cost initiatives that we have here at Swift. I'll give an update on some facility remodels that we're working on, and Jim's going to touch on that. Maybe hit on U.S. Express acquisition that we finally closed in July, and then touch on a little bit of technology before we go into Q&A. So maybe I'll kick it off with maybe first talking about the market and the conditions and how we see that playing out the rest of the year. This has been probably the most difficult market to predict. We saw such strength in 21 and first part of 22, and then we saw the market really decline in the back half of 22, and certainly been more challenging here in 2023 than we had anticipated. But we have seen some good signs of the market picking up in terms of productivity. We've seen miles per tractor really pick up coming out of the 4th of July holiday. And we expect that to continue as we've had some discussions with many of our customers who expect to see maybe some modest growth in volume as we get into the fourth quarter. Maybe not a real strong peak like we saw in 2021, but maybe a little bit more of an uplift than we saw in 2022, which is a fourth quarter that really was pretty flat compared to where we saw in third quarter. So, we're looking at a lot of different data, not just talking to customers, but looking at the TEUs, so the containers coming over from Asia. That seems to be picking up, coming off lows that we saw in February. And usually that means more freight to move through our import centers, which drives a lot of freight through our network. So good signs that we're seeing, that movement. There's been other opportunities that come our way through the Yellow bankruptcy. And a lot of that's maybe hitting us indirectly, as a lot of that freight has flown through the LTL providers. And some of that's resulted in some line haul moves from the truckload providers with to support the LTL providers that are picking up that freight. So I think that has been a little bit of a boost to the industry. But generally speaking, we're working towards trying to generate more opportunities for our drivers, increase the productivity, and really trying to drive better wages for our driver associates. We know it's been a challenge over the last couple of years, and we do think the worst is behind us, that we've kind of got past the bottom, and we'll work towards seeing a better environment, as we move forward. And we think about the different environments. A lot of what we talk about here is around the over-the-road kind of one-way trucking that is the largest part of our business. But we also have a very big segment that runs dedicated, and that's been one that's been much more steady in this environment. And we brought Mark on here to maybe talk through what those opportunities look like and what that environment's been for our driving force out there.
Yeah, Adam, thank you, and appreciate the invite from you and Jim. So before I start talking about the dedicated market, really like to say thank you to all our 4,500 plus dedicated drivers. Done a great job ever since the pandemic. A lot of changes along the line, helping support our customers with flexibility, with doing things that weren't in our normal necessarily job description to begin with. And then that's kind of morphed over time. But it's been very exciting being in the dedicated world because, hey, we've got a great group of customers who have been very loyal to us and, supported us during good times and bad. And we tried to do the same during the pandemic. And we stretched ourselves about as far as we could on the dedicated side. We were supported by OTR where possible. And also our logistics team did a great job helping provide capacity. So, we've learned a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. And, as Adam said, our market is fairly stable from that standpoint. So most of our business is multi-year contractual business where, we're expecting to work with a customer for a contract period. And our customers have been very good about that. We've been flexible with them. And if we have to morph a little bit on fleet size or driver count to reflect their business changes, we've certainly tried to do that. And our drivers have just been great. their commitment to safety and service, and just the customer commitment, where they're willing to do whatever it takes to help our customers be successful, really ties into our dedicated platform. And, we're very proud of that. And our customers, I believe, are very appreciative of that as well. So thanks to all our drivers out there who have done just a great job, during the whole pandemic and even up to today. So with that, if I can, I'll just kind of morph into a little bit about the dedicated market itself, and then where we have opportunities for our drivers. So, today, our fleet mix has changed a little bit. And those of you that are out there and we're on another fleet that may not be there today, we have new fleets as well. And really we're pretty balanced overall. So, we're working hard right now from a marketing standpoint to add new opportunities for our dedicated drivers, because we know that's important. That consistency, that predictability, which is really, really important when we have a truckload market like we have today. That consistency is so important, and our drivers know what to expect. They've got predictable weekly earnings, predictable home time. They know what work assignments they're going to have. It's usually based on one customer or a group of customers. So you really have a lot more consistencies in your daily life. So we're trying to add more to that right now. We're working very hard. We've got a couple new fleets starting that we're excited about. And then, frankly, we expect to add a couple more opportunities as we go into the fourth quarter, Adam, as well. We're always planning ahead. The sales cycle on dedicated is a lot longer. And so we're expecting 2024 to be a strong year as well. And we're excited about our opportunities. So if you're looking for a dedicated opportunity and you work at Swift today, we've got the driver placement department that helps with that. And they know which fleets need drivers and what the qualifications are, et cetera. So I would encourage you first, if you work at Swift today, to get with your driver leader and have that discussion about, what you're looking for. Maybe it's a career path move for you. You started in OTR and you're looking to do something different. Maybe it's a change in life and you need some different home time, or you need to stay closer to home, or want to work at a regional network. So, we're here to find opportunities to meet your needs. And so I would work with your driver leader and the placement department first. If you're out there and you're not a Swift employee today and looking for a dedicated opportunity, I would steer you to our website at swifttrans.com and pull up our driver opportunities, where we've got opportunities there to check on our dedicated boxes to see the fleet jobs that we have available. And that's across our entire network. So, as of this morning, we have about 140 dedicated jobs in our 3 dedicated segments. That's on the dry side, refrigerated, and grocery, that are out there and available for new applicants, as well as our incumbent and internal drivers. So, hey, it's very exciting to see these opportunities, Adam, and we're looking forward to growing this as we finish the year and then into 2024 as well.
Yeah, we really like the dedicated segment we have at Swift. Again, it creates that stability, that consistent earnings for our drivers, as well as a nice revenue stream for our business. And it's great to see our drivers be able to flow back and forth. We've seen drivers have moved from over the road from one of Jim's business to Mark's businesses, and then vice versa. If the over the road is maybe more attractive to someone, our drivers are able to be fluid and move across businesses. And that's not something that every carrier can offer.
No, and if I didn't use the term career path, I need to, because that's really what we're selling. And we've got jobs within Swift or our KNX brands overall that can help. Once you find a home here, you're here. We've got something for you. We want you to stay with our company, and we want you to be successful, no matter if you have life changes or different needs as your career progresses. So, hey, that flexibility is really important. We ask that you be safe. We ask that you do a great job for our customers. Our customers hold us to a very high level of service, and we're one of the top providers from a service standpoint. We're very proud of that reputation, and hey, we're looking for folks that want to work hard and are willing to do the job that it takes for both of us to be successful.
Yeah, and I'd say that's always evolving, right? So if say you looked into something a year ago and there wasn't something in your hometown, that changes on a regular basis. So check back in with that driver replacement team, because like as an example, we're starting a new semi-dedicated deal here in the Phoenix market in another week or so, and so you just never know what we have in the hopper and what we could potentially have in the near future. So before you make a decision to leave the company, I would definitely encourage you to look to see what we have right here.
Great.
Yep.
Appreciate
No,
that,
that's
Mark.
good. Yeah.
All right, I'll hit on some cost initiatives. And so as everyone knows, this market has been very difficult. And so, in order to compete in a difficult market, we've got to do everything we can on the cost side. And so, two of our biggest components, and you've heard Adam and I say it 100 times, but safety. Safety always will remain the top priority, but it's also a very good way to reduce cost. And so I feel like sometimes we get a little complacent in the summer because you get past the winter weather, and we don't have snow or ice, but the winter weather or summer weather rather can be just as deadly. With the heavy rain, you got wind, dust storms, and so I definitely encourage you to keep your guard up, pay attention to where you're going, look at the weather reports, use an app on your phone, and just know that, and we say this every meeting, at least I try to, you're in control of that truck, and so we're never going to ask you to run in a situation where you don't feel it's safe, whether that's weather, fatigue, anything. You're in control, and you've got the authority to safely, find a place to park and notify us that for whatever reason you can't move on. Now, if it's weather, we're not typically going to ever repower that. Now, there could be some situations where we would, but typically weather, we're just going to let that weather pass and then have you continue on, even if it means rescheduling that load. Second big item would be fuel. And right now, obviously, you're seeing fuel prices going back up again. They came down a little bit, but fuel prices are really elevated from where they were just a couple of years ago.
Even if you, Jim, if you look at the 4th of July, the Department of Energy national average to what it is today is up 60 cents a gallon. I mean, that's significant, from a cost increase over a month and a half period. So we really need our drivers' help in helping us manage fuel.
Yeah, and where the true cost on that would be idle and out of route, because both of those buckets, there's no fuel surcharge, and so that's just pure expense. So, I definitely want to get this out there. We're not ever going to ask you to sleep in a hot truck. We're not going to tell you to, not idle the truck when you're trying to sleep, whether it's cold or hot. We get the bunk heaters; those do a great job in the winter of keeping the truck warm. But in the summer, I get it. You're going to have to idle the truck if you're sitting in, the Southwest or most southern states in the summer. The truck's got to be on when you're trying to sleep to keep the truck cool. However, we would ask you that if you're not in the truck, turn the truck off. So if you're going to get a bite to eat, you're going into the terminal, or you're going into a customer, whatever you're going to be doing, turn the truck off when you're not in it. And that's really how we, ask you to manage the idle to a realistic expectation.
Yeah, take every opportunity where you don't have to idle to not idle.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not asking anyone to be uncomfortable. We know it's hot and it'll be cold at some point, and we've got heaters to deal with that. But, hey, just help us, when you think about the cost of fuel and what you can do to help us, with our cost reduction initiatives. And not everyone might be on a fuel bonus scenario like in dedicated. We don't have that. That's applicable to most of our dedicated drivers. But what it does is it allows us, by keeping costs down, to make us more competitive in the marketplace. So we can go out and win new business, create new dedicated jobs, because our costs are very competitive in the market, and we're not paying extra for fuel. So, that's a case where our drivers can really help us win new business within the company.
Yep, definitely. APUs, something else I wanted to hit on, because we get a lot of comments, questions on that. Why don't we have APUs at Swift? We've looked at it. We just looked at it about a year ago. They just don't pencil out. If diesel got up as high as, say, $6 a gallon, right around there, that's where the math would start to change. But you got to remember that really the APU, the savings is in the summertime only, because the bunk heater is so efficient. The other thing is, where we trade trucks every 4 to 5 years, it doesn't help that math problem out at all. If we were a company that was keeping trucks 8-10 years plus, that math starts to look a lot different when you're running that same truck for that many years. And so that's the reason we don't do APUs at Swift.
And I think the reason these cost initiatives are so important is typically in a trucking cycle where you see pressure on rates, usually there's some offset on the cost front, whether that be cheaper equipment from a truck or a trailer, lower fuel costs, more accessible labor. We haven't seen any of this. I mean, the economy is still relatively strong, and so the cost pressures are still in the business, and really we haven't seen any reprieve there yet. We're seeing pressure on rate. No one can affect our cost per mile more than our driving associates. So we're looking to you to partner with us to find a way to be more competitive so we can continue to invest in our fleet, be competitive to win more freight. Another area that our drivers can certainly help is servicing our freight at a high level. This allows us to be able to be more competitive with our customers without having to do that on just price alone, but do it with service, which allows us to continue to invest in our fleet and our drivers. And so operating at a high level of service is critical for us in this type of environment. So, but those are three areas: the safety, fuel, and service that we're asking our drivers to really step up and partner with us to be successful.
Yeah, and service is critical, whether freight's plentiful or not, because if you don't have good service, you don't even get the invitation for a seat at the table for the next bid. So, and Mark sees that obviously with dedicated. It's it's rate and service are the two big things.
Yep.
And, we rely on every single driver on the service aspect.
Yeah.
Hey, one other thing on the safety side in relation to insurance is, we've really worked with our drivers and they've done a great job. You've all done a great job over the last 6 years or so, improving our safety performance, our safety metrics, our crash basic score. And so I hear the comment about, hey, our safety is improving. Why do we have insurance challenges? And the reality is, the situation is, we have improved our safety metrics. And so congrats to everyone out there. And it's really important that we continue on that path. But what we're seeing in our litigious world today is that each crash is more expensive per crash. So what we've done to greatly improve our safety performance, we're seeing on the other side, and you see the ads on TV and you see, the focus on crash, dollars, accident expense type things. We're no different than that. We can be victim to that, or we can own it by having the best safety record that we can to reduce that cost. So great job improving our safety performance. Thank you. Let's keep it going. But hey, the reality is the cost is real.
Yeah, and you're right, Mark. I mean, if you look at our crash rate from a CSA standpoint, we're best in class there. If you look at our DOT reportable accidents, we compete better than almost any of our peers. So have done a great job there. But again, as you pointed out, the cost to litigate a claim is very expensive and it continues to be pressured. And so we just can't put ourselves in a position where we even have claims.
We have to own it.
Yep.
Let me hit on facilities. So currently we've got 4 terminals that are being remodeled, 8 terminals that are either out for bid or waiting on permits, and the rest have been remodeled. And then we've got some new builds going on, Vegas, Mobile, Alabama, and Statesboro, Georgia.
And Houston.
Right. Houston. Yep. Yeah. So a lot going on with terminals. Obviously, if you drive for Swift, you probably have seen just a huge change in every terminal that's been remodeled. I mean, it's not just, paint and new flooring. It's a massive remodel, beautiful driver center in each one of these.
A lot of positive comments, just a lot of good driver feedback on those of you that have been around a while and saw our terminals, which to some extent weren't all that bad, but they're a lot better today.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, where we could put gyms in, we're putting gyms in terminals. We're, got some terminals have the gaming centers. We're looking at doing a few more of those. So really just trying to make it a great place. When you get there, you've got a great place to take a break and spend the night or spend a few hours.
Yeah, this is us investing in our drivers.
Exactly.
And we really haven't done a lot at our corporate headquarters over the last 7 years because, our intent is to make sure all of our facilities are in great shape before we do any remodels here. Now, we've done some at the driver centers out here, which has turned out really great. Right. But we want to make sure that we have the best facilities in the industry, because when you work for Swift, you work for the largest, most profitable trucking company. And you should feel that when you come into our facilities.
Yeah, I think corporate ops, you said 7, you meant 27 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Hey, we're all about driver support, not necessarily about what we're doing. So,
maybe want to touch on a couple more items before we go to Q&A. As I alluded to in the opening comments, we did close on the acquisition of US Express on July 1st. So we're excited about that. We've had quite a bit of time since we announced that back in March to work closely with that team and build relationships. And so I think we hit the ground running pretty quickly. And we've got a great team over there that's excited about, learning what they can from our other brands. We've got several synergy teams working on collaboration and finding best practices and helping really improve that U.S. Express business to get to a point where it's operating similar to how we operate at Swift and some of our other brands in our KNX family. So if you see a U.S. Express driver over the road, welcome them. They're part of our team now, part of our family, and excited about that, and look forward to making some meaningful progress with the U.S. Express team.
Yeah, and just to make sure everyone knows, it'll remain separate, no different than Knight Swift Run today. 2 totally separate brands, 2 separate companies, and the plan is we're going to keep it that way.
Yeah, separate terminals. We're rolling out some new U.S. Express terminals on existing land that they have, but we'll have separate networks, still running our own trailers, similar to what we've done with other brands. But again, just behind the scenes, collaborating and learning from each other.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe lastly, just hit on a couple of notes on technology for the in-cab device. We're working on a rollout of some updates on navigation. We're probably about 4 weeks away from a rollout there that we believe will significantly improve the navigation, at least aligning the directions to exactly what we expect that load to run out of our system.
Right.
I know there's been some challenges there. We've made improvements along the way, but we know there's still a little ways to go there. So we think this next step here gets us much closer to where we want that to be. Mm-hmm. We're also working on rolling out the freight trailer finder through our Freight Box application. And so we're testing that now in 4 terminals in the West. And our drivers, we're getting great responses from that, where essentially in the cab of the truck, if you're looking for an available trailer, you'll have the ability to ping this app, and it will locate the best trailer for you for the load that you have and give you directions directly to it. Still some fine tuning that needs to occur, but talking with our team that works very closely with the driver's test, and I'm very encouraged about this. And I got one example. We had a driver who was, out in no man's land in Nebraska, was able to easily find a trailer that he or she would have not been able to find without this tool. So excited about what that means for the ease of our drivers to locate a trailer. I know they're a little bit more plentiful now. That won't always be the case when freight picks up. And so we want that to not be a burden on our drivers, to not have to drive all over town looking for empty trailers, to really know where to go, what's the most efficient trailer for the load, be able to pick it up and be on your way. So we're excited about how that technology is developing.
Yeah. And we're always trying new technology, whether it's, in the cab of the truck. Like right now, I learned today, based on a comment I saw from a driver that said they had a solar panel on their truck. I'd never heard of that.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, so no one knew about it. So it turns out we have 50 trucks with solar panels, and basically it's a trickle charger. So the juice goes right into the battery, try to keep the battery charged. And we'll ramp that up to 200, and we'll just keep trying that, keep, kind of monitoring how many jump starts do we have of that population of trucks compared to the ones that don't. But again, hey, if this is technology that works, it's something we'll continue to roll out. So we're always trying to kind of stay ahead of what's out there. So, want everyone to know, just because you don't hear about it, we don't talk about it. In this case, none of us even knew about it. But, we got 50 trucks where we're trying it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jim, should we jump into some questions?
Yeah. So here's one from Tim. I'll let you answer this one, Adam. I know you've had some passion around this one recently. What's the status of the load board for owner operators?
Yeah. So that's been a project that's been worked on for much longer than we had hoped it would be worked on. I think our IT team is committed to getting that up and running this year. So I think by the time we hit the back half of the fourth quarter, we do have, I think, 30 or so owner operators that are using it now, and I think we're learning some things through that testing, and I think we're finding things that we need to fix, and we're moving pretty quickly on that. So we're optimistic that we can make progress in that area, and I know it's something that we've been talking about for quite some time, but look forward to getting that to the finish line where we have a sizable number of our owner operators. I mean, there will always be some small tweaks we'll have to make to it, but really my goal is by the end of this year that's out and operating for the large part of our owner operators.
All right, thanks. Next one, I kind of sort of already answered this, but is it possible to put a gym at all terminals? Where we have space, yes, but not all terminals would have enough space to have a gym in there. But I'm not sure what the number is today, but I got to tell you, seems like there's a lot of gyms that we visit that do have at least a small one in the driver's center.
Yeah, and they'll vary based on the size of the terminal and the number of people that come to that location.
Yeah, you're
right?
probably not going to see too many gyms like the one here in Phoenix in the driver's center, but the goal would be to put one where we can and where we have space.
Yeah.
And then Mark, here's one for you. Alberto asked, dedicated for lease operators in the Southeast.
Yeah, so we've got some parameters around which fleets we can put contractors on, and in the Southeast, it's pretty wide open. So we look at the contract and the economics on the fleet and how that works with our contractors, and we have I want to say close to 400 plus owner operators already working and dedicated. So it can be done, and we'll look for those opportunities. So again, I would refer you to the placement folks to get an idea of what you're looking for, and then we'll go from there and see if we can find you a fit. But our independent contractors do a great job on dedicated. They're very focused on safety and service, which are our two priorities. And so yeah, we'll welcome that, Jim.
All right, thanks, Mark. Here's a really good question. Joshua asked, how can we drivers assist with the goals of accelerating sales or moving the company forward? I know that it's a tough freight market out there, and I'm wondering what options there are for a motivated driver like me to be of assistance. I think we sort of already hit on that, but service is huge, and then attitude is probably just as big as service. You represent Swift every time you pick up or deliver a load. Driving down the road in a truck stop, you're always representing Swift, and you never know who's watching. So those would be two big areas that I would tell you that the more you work on that and the more you're aware of that, the better off the whole company is.
I'd give you one more, which I've forgotten for my notes was, hey, you're out there every day picking up and delivering, and you see where our competitors are picking up and delivering. So those leads are really important, especially if it looks like a dedicated location. Pass that information along back to your driver leader, and that'll get to us. And hey, we'll do the groundwork and or the legwork, and we'll go find out if that's an opportunity or not. But I mean, our drivers can really help us find new opportunities and that we may not even know about.
And I think even drivers are out there interacting with other drivers,
Yep.
Referring a driver. We have some drivers that refer
That's a good point.
drivers on a regular basis and make a lot of money doing that. So I think that's another way that you can help support the business.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, attitude's everything, right? Like I fly Southwest Airlines typically because it's different. It feels the culture of that airline is different than the others, and it's the people that make that culture feel like that. So the more we could have drivers, kind of rallying at all times in a positive manner, the better off the whole company becomes.
Yeah, I think it's that winning attitude. People want to work with a winning team or be on a winning team. So even in a tough market, we can't let that get us down. We've got to stay positive, as Jim noted. And hey, let's get some wins, and we'll work our way through this. And soon it'll be a better market, and there'll be more opportunities for everyone.
Yeah. Yep. There's a couple of questions here on parking. I know parking's been very difficult at our terminals. You made the comment, we got, too many trailers right now, or excess trailers. I laugh because a year and a half ago, a lot of the complaints were
Not
enough trailers. Yeah.
Now it's the opposite. Now we need more parking space, but we are working to get rid of some trailers. We're working on selling some trailers. We're working on trying to clean up some of the yards. If we got junk in the yards, we're trying to get rid of that. We definitely want to have space for you when you come into our terminal.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. One, it's selling some of the older equipment. Mm-hmm. And so we're working through that. We expect to clean out a good amount by the back half of this year of the older trailers. And then as customer freight picks up, they're going to need more trailers on their yards. And so I would expect to see more trailers move to customer yards. And so I think as the freight market picks up, we'll see our yards start to have a little bit more space for parking.
Definitely. Another question here. We got 1 minute, so I'll do this is the last question. Somebody asked if we could park at the U.S. Express terminal. So the general answer to that's no, right? Because we run these companies separate. Now, what I would tell you, we've had drivers where, say, a night driver ends up needing kind of a safe haven in a spot where there's not a night terminal. We'll make exceptions as need be, but as a general rule, the answer would be no. And part of that is the entrance and exit is different at each company. So like your Swift badge won't get you into a night terminal and vice versa. Same thing with US Express. And so we do want to keep the brands separate. We will make exceptions where we have to, though.
Yeah, because as we noted earlier, I mean, parking is a premium, and so I think having a free for all would create, I think, more contention between different brands. But if we could do it in a very deliberate manner where it makes sense, we do it. But again, it's something that's very controlled.
Right. All right, we're right at time, so we'll wrap it up.
Hey, I just want to
Yeah.
say thanks for having me. Give me a chance to
We might bring you back next time, Mark.
communicate with our great drivers. Very proud of our team and our office support as well. I mean, folks have worked really hard over the last 4 years, and not that they weren't working hard previously, but I mean, hey, we've seen a lot of changes over the last 4 years, and just really proud of this whole team.
Yeah, hey, I'd like to say the drivers are the backbone of America. So again, thanks for all the hard work that everyone does out there to, not only keep, Swift strong, but to keep America strong.
Yeah, again, we appreciate our drivers. We appreciate our mechanics, our non-drivers, everything that keeps this business running.
That's right.
And hey, I think we're humble leaders here, that love the people we work with and want to do the best for our company and our people. And yeah, you have good markets, you have challenging markets. That doesn't dissuade us. We know what we need to do to execute, and we bring everybody together, work as a team, and we get through any situation we're in. But
We want to win.
Yeah,
That's right.
appreciate all the great people here at Swift and our other brands. And hey, look forward to a good driver appreciation week that's coming up next month. So we're excited about that. We do quite a bit at the Swift terminals and our other brands, and look forward to interacting with many of our drivers.
Thank you.